It's time to lace up and hydrate and stretch it out because we're entering the physical zone. Here's your instructor, Jarret.
Gentlemen,
Is that better?
that's
You
much
went all
better.
out on that intro.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here today to take you through the physical realm and put you through the stretches and into the game. It's a big week for home entertainment, like probably the last big week of the year, because at the moment all the distributors pushing out all the big key titles ahead of Christmas. Obviously, they want to guarantee they get them in stores and get the shelf space. Well, let's face it, there's not many stores that are actually going to be stocking them physically. And on a note, I don't know if I brought it up last week when I was chatting with Ben, but I've noticed that Amazon are now stocking less Australian product. I think it was actually the week prior when I was speaking to both of you guys, and it's a repeat. Like, there's so many big releases that have come out of late that Amazon aren't stocking, including like Barbie and Oppenheimer, which is just mind blowing. That said, they're obviously stocking the international releases, but just not the local releases. So yeah, it's getting harder and harder to find local product, and it's no surprise also that we're not seeing that many pre-orders launch ahead of next year. At the moment, I've got tentative release dates for stuff, but pre-orders aren't really live on the internet. And the question of who's going to be releasing certain Universal and Sony product, when we're going to see those titles filter through all interactive distribution, like Five Nights at Freddy's. Universal's dropping that this week on digital premium VOD, but at this point in time, there's no physical release date for it. Again, mind-blowing considering this is now Blumhouse's most successful film at the global box office to date. And there's no physical release date. But in any case, this week we've got some physical releases. In some instances, possibly the last that we'll see for some time. The first one I want to mention is Blue Beetle. It's the DC superhero film that kind of came and went without a fuss. My friend Simon Harcourt, he watched it recently, and he described it as bland and frantic, and I think that sounds fairly accurate. And it sounds like 101.
I'm kind of keen to see it. I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about how the guy who directed it, he was one of the big kind of losers of the pandemic, because his first film was like this Sundance hit and just as it was supposed to get its release, COVID hit and it just got dumped out. Then he comes back with Blue Beetle as his big studio film. There's a strike, and he gets, the theatrical.
Of course, they can't do half the marketing and that for it.
And this poor guy is just like, now his two big, maybe only chances.
At
getting out there and kind of starting a career have been totally quashed by circumstances completely beyond his and the studio's control. Well, maybe not the studio's control.
I'd be curious to see, what the Sundance film is, because again, it's another one of these cases. It sounds like a studio taking, an indie director and putting them in charge of a big studio production. And, obviously not only the whole strike and whatnot, I think the superhero fatigue played a part
big time
in people not wanting to see this. And it's a shame. You're thinking that these indie directors at the moment, it's great to make a quick buck, but do you really want to do this as your next feature, your next big step,
And what an interesting time for like James Gunn to come on board as the new guy at DC, because he's entering that area right as everyone's done with it. Like,
absolutely, he's going to have to do something pretty special to reinvigorate it. And I mean, he's proven that he can make interesting and refreshing superhero films. But when you're taking on an entire slate and you're really only acting as the head, maybe if he was writing and directing them all, sure. But the fact that he's basically just in charge of, production, I don't know. Anyway, so I haven't seen Blue Beetle, but it is coming out on 4K, Blu-ray and DVD. And this one only has 3 featurettes on it, so nothing major. They are pretty extensive featurettes, though. And the Dolby Atmos track is available on the 4K as well as the Blu-ray, which is pretty good. In all honesty, I don't think I'll ever watch this movie. I still haven't watched The Flash, and I actually want to see that movie. But Blue Beetle, I can happily, I'll give that one a miss. Now, the next one I want to mention might be one of the last Sony titles we see for a while, and it's The Equalizer 3, and that's coming out on 4K, Blu-ray and DVD. As is the case with Sony, however, you're only going to get Dolby Atmos on the 4K. They like to keep it as a sort of premium, sort of thing for the 4K release. However, it does have a lot of special features. There's deleted scenes, I think about 20 minutes worth. There's 5 featurettes and even a music video on there. And I believe there's a specialist retailer out there that's got a steelbook as well, if that's your kind of thing. But yeah, I'm keen. I'm actually really keen to check this one out. I didn't do the digital rental of it during that whole Black Friday period, so I'll probably end up picking it up, and I'll probably pick it up around the Christmas period, maybe when there's a sale out there and I can get it for a little less than retail, because I don't want to pay $40 sight unseen for a film. But given I like the previous two, I'm pretty sure I'll like fun. This third installment.
It's a lot of fun.
I'm shocked that music videos are still like a thing that come out with movies. Even
I know, it's baffling. Like, because you rarely see music videos in this day and age unless you're seeing them on YouTube or they play in the background of your Apple Music or Spotify or something of that nature. It's kind of like a completely dead art, the music video, in terms of crossing it over with a film.
Although, we're a lot older now. Like when we were young, like we were all over music because we're interested in the videos. Like,
yeah. But look, I only want to see them if, like, Denzel Washington is there, like
yes, like Billy Ocean. Billy Ocean, and they've got synchronized dancing or something. I'm totally in for that.
Yeah, I want to see.
Yes, I'm in for that.
The cast of Equalizer 3. Getting down to whatever. I can't even think of what. The music was not super impactful.
No.
That's why they've stuck the music video on there, because they're hoping to get a few more streams on the old Spotify.
What's the name of that famous Italian song from the 70s that has no actual lyrics? Like he just sings gibberish? It's got to be that.
Oh, that one where he made up the language.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'll look forward to checking it out eventually. But yeah,
have you heard of that song? Have you heard of this song?
No.
This guy, he was convinced that at the time in Italy that they just loved anything American. They didn't give a shit what it was about. Just the fact that it was English language or American was enough. So he just made up this song full of nonsense words. Like he just.
But that's amazing.
I'll end this video with that video.
It is
fantastic! Fantastic
film clip, and it went to number 1. Like he did it as a joke. And it was this, massive hit in Italy.
It's a killer song.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm very keen. It kind of reminds me. Do you remember that? It was like a commercial. I think it was obviously, I don't know if it was Norwegian or something, commercial that came out in the early 90s. And it was always on one of those, greatest, commercials ever. And it was the family driving in a car, and they're all singing like, "I'm going to fuck you in the ass. I'm going to fuck you in the ass." Yeah. That's what it reminds me of. And they were just like gleefully singing it as a family. I love it. So yeah, Equalizer 3. The other one I want to mention is the Expendables, not to be confused with the Expandables, which is also available in the trouser department of your local retailer. But the Expendables 4 is coming on home entertainment. Roadshow are releasing it, and they're actually doing it on 4K Blu-ray and DVD. And this one's actually got loaded with special features. It's probably the first new release title in a while that's actually got an audio commentary track on it. And in addition to that, it's got I think 2 featurettes and a trailer. But the good news is the Dolby Atmos on the 4K and Blu-ray also. Maybe I should catch up with these movies over the Christmas break.
Do you reckon that this is going to get a 5th installment? Because if it doesn't, then I might even invest in the 4-pack. But if there's going to be a 5th one, like I don't want a 4-pack only to have a 5th one come along.
It's if it's selling on digital, maybe, and maybe if there's physical sales, because I don't think anyone saw it theatrically. It kind of came and went.
I believe this new one is like a passing of the baton, and that Statham's taking over the franchise now.
And wasn't there talk at a point they were going to do a female Expendables? Yeah? No? I think I read that.
It was called the Expendables, Belle.
And then nothing happened with that. That sort of, they saw what happened with Ghostbusters, and then they're like, oh, maybe not. These movies don't make enough money for us to make any less. So maybe we just nix that idea.
I'm 100% with Glenn on this, because I've got my Indiana Jones box set with Crystal Skull in it. And now I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I've got 2 Planet of the Apes movies that are in a style, and then the third one in a completely different style, which upsets me no end.
Yep.
It really gets the OCD going. So they need to let us know what the planned
Yeah, totally. So, I rarely buy any sets. I tend to buy individually. And then even then you're kind of cursed by the fact that they'll change the packaging design, or they come out through different distributors. Or even recently, I've just picked up the new Evil Dead film, Evil Dead Rise. I finally picked it up. I got it during the Black Friday sale. Got it for like maybe $16, and I was pretty happy with that. Anyway, it was pictured with the slip cover. Not that I'm big on slips, but I just happen to own every other Evil Dead film on 4K with a slip cover. And then this thing comes along and it's got no slip cover. And then I'm all like, I bought this one. It doesn't even have the commentary. I just bought it because it was cheap. And now it doesn't even, and that kind of, that bugs me a little. Like that bugs me a little.
Do you get rid of all the other slips? Do you get rid of the slips or do you?
Well, I could probably sell them and make a good amount of money, but anyway, such is life. Now, the last two releases I do want to mention, I won't go into too great a detail. The first one's Retribution, that's coming out from Studio Canal with Liam Neeson. Mm-hmm. You did an interview with the director. Was it?
Yep.
What's the name of it? That's right, Nimrod Antal.
Yep.
I watched this because I didn't realize this went from theaters and then within like maybe less than a month went to Prime just as normal streaming content, well ahead of the physical release. I was shocked to see it on there.
Yeah.
And realized I didn't have to pay extra to watch it. I watched it and I enjoyed it. I didn't realize at the time that it was a remake or the fact that there had already been like maybe 3 remakes prior to this one coming along.
Yep.
It was fine. It was enjoyable enough. It was great to watch on Prime. But it's finally coming out on Blu-ray and DVD, which is cool. And then the last one I want to mention is one that I think you guys are going to be delighted about. My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 on Blu-ray and DVD. No 4K for this one. And it does retain that theatrical key art that I know you both love.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's happening.
Backing it up a bit, speaking of Liam Neeson, did you see this week that he's making Ice Road 2 in Walhalla in Victoria, that town that I recently took photos in?
Damn, no, I haven't seen the first one. I think it's one of the few Liam Neeson ones I haven't seen of his recent stint of like endless action movies.
Yeah. So this one...
Yeah, all right. I'll definitely check it out. Because
Walhalla's going to be standing in for Nepal, I think, because this is all about a bus accident in the mountains of Nepal, and it's a rescue sort of story.
Oh, that's interesting. Have you ever seen any of the videos or photos on the internet about Liam Neeson? Apparently likes to go out and have a bit of a drink, but he also
we've had this conversation on the show before.
Yeah, uses his pants as a toilet.
They showed me.
Yeah, it's shocking. Like it seems like it's a legit thing. But bless him, like he's getting a photo with a fan, regardless, and he must be conscious of the fact that
he's full-blown AIDS, right? So
yes, that's all I could keep saying because Retribution is an action-packed film, is a fairly slow-paced action film. It's pretty much set entirely in the car to a degree.
Yeah,
and all I could help but do was every now and again quote, I've got AIDS. Full-blown AIDS. That was terrific. But so it is a good week of releases across home entertainment, and there is more releases coming out next week, but these are the big key releases prior to Christmas. And then I'm dead curious to see how next year will fare up in terms of releases. I mean, the indies have told us what's coming, and I know a handful of the big studio titles coming. But it's an interesting time. One thing I didn't raise actually that I think I might have spoken to you guys privately about was the fact that I didn't realize that Universal and Sony Sony had left the UK market. So now Sony is only releasing theatrically in the UK and sub-licensing their home entertainment to different vendors. So it's a strange time. The last release they had was the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie. They haven't had anything since, and No Hard Feelings is coming out in January through another distributor. So, it's an interesting time because it feels like we're throwing back to how it all started once upon a time where these studios were theatrical distributors but not home entertainment distributors and sub-licensed it. So it's kind of done this whole, 360, 180, 360, I don't know. Done one or the other. But anyway.
A turnabout.
Yeah, it's turned about. But anyway, gentlemen, that is all I have for you this week. So until next time, stay physical.
Shoes now, a whole building scene, and a whole red map begin to color boss dying. see the cold, baby, to stay yet, little Joe. When I stay in the shoes now, I'll hold Billy saying that a whole red maybe get the color boss dying. When it's the same age, you can't be seen. You know, for someone never just got David the chance. You're coming not choosing up, I ain't but not sure. Hope this again, not the cover, no time. Oh, but if it's a stand, light the shoes of government. You would trust to the man, it's called the radio girls. Oh, something. Good time, let face go. We've been seeing in the stand, and the shoes are coming in. This is 2 of the cars that over 4 of the guys to stay. I my chance, let hey, the hills don't go and breathe up. You the call and made to say one, please sit calling this in I do so, alright. You know, bills you can go to the door. There's people that have to like big yo. You know, bills you can go to the door. There's people that have to like big yo.